Well, today we have a special guest joining us through the magic of the internet since, social distancing is still a thing. Please welcome to the show, Kira Buckland.
Welcome.
Hello.
So, Kira is a voice actress for many, many anime and video game titles. You probably know quite a few of these, and just a small handful of her notable roles. She was in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, she was in Kakegurui, Love Live, the Danganronpa series, and many, many others. But probably most notably, at least recently, you were 2B from Nier Automata.
Yes, that's correct. And also brand new role, Mitsuri Kanroji from Demon Slayer.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Episode just premiered last weekend as of the time we're recording this.
Awesome.
Yay.
I believe you can watch that on Toonami, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think Saturdays you can check that out. And we're really looking forward to it. We actually haven't seen Demon Slayer yet, so
Not yet.
I'd be interested to check it out, especially now that the dub is going live.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it's a really popular show because people love the characters and story and fights and everything.
So as you might know about our podcast, we don't actually pick an anime series to talk about. We kind of leave it up to fate and let randomness decide. So I was kind of looking back at our previous episodes and trying to figure out if we had any overlap with Kira, and it turns out we do. So some of our previous episodes that we talked about, you were Julis from Asterisk War, which is kind of one of the lead roles from that show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And also the Senpai Red Blood Cell from Cells at Work.
Mm-hmm.
Which that one was a more recent role that we just did.
Yeah, that was a pretty recent episode.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, she's super cute. Her big
Oh,
sister
yeah.
character is kind of like a new character type for me to play, so that was a lot of fun.
For me, I think Kayla alluded to this before we started recording. I'm very into fighting games and part of the FGC kind of scene.
Ooh, me too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I used to play competitively. I don't have time to sit and practice for hours anymore.
Same, yeah.
Yes.
My brother just bought me Grand Blue Versus, and I finally booted it up last week for a couple hours.
Nice. Yeah, I joke about that because it's funny because my character's not playable, but she shows up in Grand Super for a second and it's like, you can do it, Gran, or whatever. And I joke that because Kyle McCarley had to spend all of Nier Automata supporting me,
Right.
I'm here to provide backup or whatever. And it's like, now I have to support him.
Good. Tables turn sometimes. In addition to that, you were also in Skullgirls and Street Fighter V and BlazBlue Cross Tag, as well as Soul Calibur VI as two different characters.
Yeah, and Dead or Alive. That was first game where I voiced a playable character in a fighting game.
Oh, that must have been exciting for you.
Yeah, that was like I don't know a lot of people who play Dead or Alive, to be honest, but it was so exciting and so special to me because that was my biggest goal of my career. I mean, I feel like a lot of actors, they have these really lofty goals, like I want to be a Disney princess, and it's like, sure, in a perfect world that would be amazing, but kind of going into my career, I just wanted to be a playable character in a fighting game, and that was my ultimate goal. And one of the things that inspired me to voice act early on was when I went to a friend's house in high school and they were playing Soul Calibur 2, and I was trying to imitate the voices and stuff. I'm sure it was very annoying in retrospect, but then if you had told me that years and years later I would be playing two characters in a Soul Calibur game, I couldn't even imagine that,
Yeah, for sure.
So how did that transition go for you from going from a fan and playing a lot of these games into turning this into a career?
Well, it took a really long time for me because I lived in Alaska for most of my life and I grew up there. And obviously, if you want to do most voice work, you have to be in LA or Texas or,
Right.
Some kind of place where they do a lot of the work. And so I just did a bunch of online stuff and, I didn't get paid for it or anything, but it was just flash animations, student projects, indie games, back before indie games were crowdfunded and could pay and that sort of stuff. So I did so much just I'll do a voice for this person's video or, something like that. And so it took me a really long time to actually be able to move out to LA and then transition because, even when you start, you can get your first role or your first, even if it's a big project or whatever, but it takes so long to make that consistent. And I feel that's not what a lot of people realize. Because I think a lot of aspiring actors feel that if they can just get their first role or get their foot in the door somewhere, then that's it. But it's very much like not like that, because the challenge isn't, I mean, it is a challenge to get there, but it's also a challenge to work consistently enough to make it your career. You know, I've had like a lot of other jobs. I think my favorite and most recent of the jobs that I had before I was able to be a full-time actor was working at a kitten nursery.
Oh, awesome.
So I bottle fed and cleaned up a lot of kittens' messes.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that a dream job or is it actually kind of crappy?
Both, and literally.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely both, you know, but people are like, oh, you get paid to play with kittens all day and bottle feed. And it's like, yeah, the kittens are messy.
It seems like you have a lot of careers that are like that, where from the outside, people will look at it and be like, oh, that must be so amazing, that thing that you're doing. And then to actually be in it is a lot different.
Yeah, I think that's every job. Like, I don't think there's any like perfect career out there that has no drawbacks. I mean, even acting, like, obviously, which is what I wanted to do more than anything. Like, it's wonderful and I love it, but it's also hard because you have to constantly be like, okay, where is my next job going to come from? And, you know, it's like a lot of like, you know, the fun part is playing a character, you know, getting into a character's head, performing, that sort of stuff. The hard part is basically that you have to run a business. You know, I started my own business finally to make everything official. And it's like, you know, all the accounting and all like taxes, that kind of stuff. Like, it's not fun, you know?
Yes, I know that world too well.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of like Kayla and I both have like full-time jobs that are very different than our podcasting. And I'm sure you would love to be full-time podcasting now, Kayla.
Yes.
But I know that in our like full-time fields, there are a lot of misconceptions about the kind of work that we do. And that's kind of what you're getting at with the kittens and with voice acting in general. What are some common misconceptions, things that you hear all the time that you would really love it if it never came up again? Like things that just drive you kind of crazy?
Oh, that's a really good question, because I've actually written some articles about this because, you know, people would say this or that. And I was like, well, no, that's not really how it works. Because one of the misconceptions that I see, especially by like predatory sites, because there's a lot of like really good classes and teachers out there, but then there are some like online courses that there's some that are legitimate and then others that just try to prey on new people who want easy money. And they're like, oh, if you do voiceover, you can stay at home and make tons of money without, you know, doing any work. And it's like, that's not, you know, that's not really like how it works, because you have to like, there's so many people who want to do this. Like, it's a very competitive field. It's not like, you know, decades and decades ago where maybe they would do a game and just have like the developers do the voices or something. Like, now it's like you have hundreds of people, sometimes thousands, auditioning for a project. And so it's like you have to train really hard. Like, you have to, a lot of people think, oh, if I can do like a lot of voices, I can sound like these DBZ characters. And, you know, I've been told I have a voice for voice acting, like that kind of stuff. And, you know, the biggest thing that any actor who's working right now will tell them is, well, that's great. You know, that can help you to have a big range, but you have to be an actor. Like, that's what's going to get you the part. It's not like because you can sound like a cute anime character. It's like, you know, being able to play that character and bring them to life. Like, it's the same thing. It's why like a lot of actors are like theater trained. I mean, I'm not personally, because I knew that I wanted to do voice specifically, but I'm a trained actor. Or like if you do on camera or something, it's a really similar concept. Like, just because you don't have to memorize lines or act with your body, it's like you still have to kind of break down the character, which that's the other thing, is a lot of people think that we get to like look at the scripts in advance and make all these choices. It's like, no, it's all cold reading. So yeah, you get in there and then they're like, okay, here's a script, go. And you have to make really quick choices. So there's that. And also, I think a lot of people think that the actors get to record together because maybe they see like videos of how anime is recorded in Japan, or like how like a lot of Western animation is recorded. Because here I feel like the only thing where it's like common to have the actors record together is like Western animation. But for anime, for most video games, that sort of stuff, we all come in one at a time. And so the voice director, part of what they have to do is make it sound like we're talking to each other when it's all spliced together in the project.
Yeah. Yeah, I come from an audio background, and so I got to see a lot of that, of how different it is, the kinds of things that they would teach you for doing like film sound versus video games, especially ones imported from Japan, where it's quite different.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. Because, I mean, I deal with a lot of, like, dub haters and stuff. I mean, who doesn't, you know? It doesn't really bother me because it's, like, they're always going to be out there. But
Sure.
another thing is I think that people who really hate dubs just assume that the actors go in there and do whatever they want and make up stuff on the screen. It's like, no, like, before a project gets to us, it's gone through like the localization team, like it's gone through all these layers, and the script is like generally finalized by the time that we get it. Maybe the director will change something for like wording or just to make it like a little more conversational, that sort of thing. But it's like, we're not, you know, we don't have the power to make those choices.
Right.
Like, it's funny if people get mad about like name pronunciations, because it's like, I speak Japanese. Believe me, it hurts me to pronounce stuff wrong if I have to.
Yeah.
But, you know, you just got to do what they ask for. And, you know, it's like we have a voice director who's supervising everything. A lot of times we have clients in the room from like the company or the localization team.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, we're not just going in there and like doing whatever, like, especially now, there's so much respect towards the original source material. So, you know, for example, if I'm working on like a fighting game or whatever, it's like I'm hearing the original Japanese and matching that.
Yeah. So you had talked about leading from fighting games. You had talked about how some of that kind of stuff inspires you and pushes you towards wanting specific roles and trying to just develop your career towards that. But kind of outside of your career, what are some media that really inspire you? Like, it could be anime, it could be video games, but also like if you read books or watch any good Netflix shows, what other kinds of things are interesting to you?
So hands down, like the media that inspired me like more than anything, like my number one favorite show of all time, which anyone who knows me will know what the answer is going to be, but JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, that completely changed my life. It's like kind of inspired me as a person and as an artist.
Oh man, maybe she shouldn't go listen to our JoJo episode.
Oh no, why?
Oh, well, so our show, we only watch like the first 4 episodes of the very beginning.
Yes.
And then we kind of make a snap judgment about it. And that's like the point of the show. So people keep telling us like, no, you got to go watch Stardust Crusaders. The first season isn't the best one.
Yeah.
Or you know, Diamond is Unbreakable. And we would love to go back and do those, but
in our personal time.
Yeah, our personal time outside of the show.
I feel like with JoJo, like it definitely gets better over time because there's 8 parts and each part is kind of like its own thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, the series has been going on since 1987. So the series is literally as old as me.
Right.
But it's like there's so many ways that it's evolved and changed. And, you know, even if you look at the art style, it's so different now than it was in parts 1 or 2.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
So sorry to interrupt you.
So you guys
there,
didn't get to stand yet. Stands.
Yeah,
No, not yet.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I think it's definitely worth like checking out more of it if you get a chance.
Yeah, for sure. So sorry, we interrupted you. Other types of media that you are into.
Yeah.
Music is a really big thing for me. I love like 70s and 80s rock, especially. Actually, JoJo inspired a lot of my taste in music. I know that sounds super weeby, but it's true. Like, you know, because they reference so much classic rock, and my big obsession is obviously David Bowie. He's like my creative inspiration.
Yes, same. Love
Awesome.
David Bowie.
Cool. Well, so if our listeners are coming from the future where there is not a pandemic going on, I guess it's worth explaining that, like, right now we're going through the COVID-19 stuff, and so a lot of people are staying at home, probably a lot more people watching anime and playing video games, and things are just kind of really different in the world at the moment. So with you being kind of locked into your current position, first of all, what are some activities maybe related to your hobbies or new things you've discovered that are trying to help you keep sane and keep going in our environment?
Well, I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing, as has everybody I know.
Right.
Yes.
And, just spending time with my cats. They appreciate having humans home more often and stuff.
Mhm.
I think, the biggest thing work-wise is I'm just trying to... I have a pretty good home recording space, but I'm trying to upgrade it even more because, I need to get, Source Connect up and working and all that kind of stuff because I want to be able to keep working while all this is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I had seen that Crunchyroll, I think, just shut down their simuldub schedule, and Funimation had done that previously.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of dub schedules are kind of crazy right now, but they're trying to open it up to home recordings if voice actors are capable.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to be the hardest thing for a lot of actors because I do like a lot of indie games and that sort of thing from home. I have a full booth, I have a pretty good space at home,
Yeah.
but some actors don't, they have something that's good enough for auditions, but if they always go in to record, then it's they didn't really have the need to have one. So now everybody's I got to get a home recording space so I can keep working.
Yeah. So I saw that you are, I guess, currently open for commissions. What kind of work does that involve, and what kind of things do you usually see coming through as projects that you might participate in?
I think what I see a lot from just kind of putting stuff out online is indie games and things like that. And I'm always open to doing projects for smaller creators as long as, obviously the rates are decent and stuff like that. And, I'm willing to give people a break here and there if it's they're a small team just trying to do what they can with their budget or whatever. I actually run a community called Voice Acting Club, and we kind of connect voice actors with content creators. So a lot of adminning that is just kind of, overseeing the day-to-day stuff of the community because we have about 5,000 people on our Discord community. So
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot. Thankfully, there's a really good mod team who's working every day to
important
work,
in these online times.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I think that about wraps up anything we were wondering. Is there anything else you want to boost or anything that is interesting to you right now that you would be interested in talking about?
Well, I'm obviously super excited about Demon Slayer. I guess I do have, if anyone wants autographed art prints for through next month, the month of April, I'm doing an online store. It's currently my pinned tweet on my Twitter account. And so if you want to get a really nice art print of one of my characters, and I'll sign it for you, and I'll write a little handwritten note and all that kind of stuff. So I just think it's a nice, I don't do a lot of conventions anyway, but for, the actors who do, especially, they're not getting to meet people and sign stuff. So I just wanted to have that option for it's hey, none of us can go to events right now, but if you want something signed, here's our store.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've seen a few other voice actors do the same thing, especially with a bunch of the conventions, in the next couple months being shut down. They're just I'm going to extend my, autograph shop for, however long.
Right.
Yeah.
And Kira's Twitter account is @KiraBuckland, so you can check out what she's doing there. And we'll also include links in our show notes and when we post this episode on social media.
Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. It was a lot of fun. And please stay safe and healthy during quarantine. And hopefully we'll all get out of this and things will be okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Same to you. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks a bunch.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Hello?
Yes, hello. Hi, sorry.
Hello?
Hi, I'm here.
Hey, can you hear us?
Can't you hear us? Oh, no. Okay, I'll keep talking. Hopefully Colin will be able to fix it.
Hello? Huh, I cannot hear you for some reason.
Oh, no.